Hello, this is Wicked Shrapnel, and I got some Titanfall attrition gameplay for you. But this is not a commentary about the gameplay itself. I'm just throwing it in the background there to discuss a topic that I actually came across today on Gizmodo. And the question, philosophical question that was posed is, alright, there's a train speeding down the tracks, and we'll say that a bus has broken down on the tracks. Maybe there was an accident, there's people that might be injured on there, and for whatever reason they can't get out of the vehicle and they're sitting right on the tracks, and there's a train barreling down the tracks at them. And you have the power, maybe there's some big switch there that says pull this lever to switch the tracks, and you can divert the train from hitting this busload of people. But you see that farther down the tracks there's someone who is on the tracks. Maybe they were crossing the tracks, they were a hiker or something, and their foot got stuck in the tracks. But there's no train coming on that track unless you pull the switch to divert the train from hitting the bus full of people, but it's definitely going to kill that other person. Would you do it? And I asked this question in a much shorter form on Twitter and on Facebook, and most people, just given those circumstances, would say that they would switch the track because, you know, sacrificing one person for the sake of the many that are in the bus would be a worthwhile trade, you know, for the greater good, saving more lives. But then there's also some people that are asking, well, who are these people? And you really don't know. But when you think about, like, people talk about, you know, like the value of life, and, you know, it's better to save more lives than one life. And that's really not how we think about life, because there are some lives that, from our perspective, are more important than other lives. So what, like someone, I think it was a Barnacles Nerdgasm, was like, well, was the person like my son or my wife? Because if that's the case, then I'm just gonna let the train hit that bus full of people to save, you know, my family member. That I'm not gonna sacrifice my family member to save a bunch of strangers that are on a bus. So that's an interesting point of view as well, because, you know, you have definitely more emotional attachment and love for this single individual, that you'd be willing to sacrifice a whole busload of people just to save your own family member. And another scenario would be, now more information has come, and you can see, like, on the side of the bus it says, you know, like, state penitentiary. So there's like 30 prisoners that are being transported, like, to a state prison, and then the person that you'd be sacrificing is like some little innocent 6-year-old boy. So now, given that scenario, I bet there would be much fewer people that were willing to sacrifice the little innocent 6-year-old boy to save 30 people who broke the law and and are, like, heading to prison. So you like lower your value of the people's lives because of the whole social implications that they've done something wrong in their lives, and it would be worth getting rid of them. They might all be prisoners that are, like, on death row. They're all going to be executed anyway, and you're not going to save them and to let them go off to prison, and maybe they're, you know, going to be executed within the year anyway or something. You know, you don't know. But, like, you're not going to sacrifice this little innocent 6-year-old kid to save their lives. So it's definitely like this philosophical thing that you go over in your mind, and it definitely depends on who the people are. And it would be a very difficult situation to be put in, especially if, you know, there's only seconds to make this decision. It would be super stressful, and you'd just be hoping that you made the right decision, because you're gonna have to live with that decision for the rest of your life. And the reason this was brought up on Gizmodo, I'll link the article in the description, But they're saying that like this type of philosophical question might be implemented into robotics or like self-driving vehicles that like already in some vehicles today you get these ones that have like driver assist where it'll detect cars in front of you and put on the brakes if there's a imminent collision, or there's sensors and stuff that will keep your car like in your lane. If you start drifting out of your lane, it'll nudge you back into your lane. And as this technology advances, and even like Google is already coming out with like self-driving cars that can drive around, so eventually in the future there's inevitably going to be cars that are able to drive. So say that these cars are driving down the road and a tire blows out, and the automated system has to make a decision, which, you know, it's not going to be, I doubt it's going to be like self-aware. So this is going to be programmed into the system, and how are the computer programmers going to program it to handle a situation where it has to take action? And say one scenario is it would be diverting into like oncoming traffic where it could hit head on with, I don't know, a busload of school kids and kill everyone, or it has to pull off to the right where there's really nothing there. There's no like pulling off the side of the road. It would just like take you off a cliff or off a bridge, for instance. So the automated system may have to decide to kill you to save the lives of people that you would be endangering if it was to veer off into like oncoming traffic or something like that. So that's gonna be really crazy. I can imagine like some lawsuit coming up where the car decided to drive a dude off of a bridge just to save the lives of other people. And it's like, I bought this car, I paid for it, you should be trying to save me, but it was programmed to save the lives of other people rather than my own. And auto manufacturers or programmers of these smart cars are gonna get sued, and I just don't know how that's gonna pan out. But you get into the same type of philosophical question as the train scenario when you're thinking about how you would program a car to react in certain life-threatening situations where the people that are inside the car might need to be sacrificed in order to save, you know, a lot of other people that are also on the roadways. So that's pretty crazy. It really makes your brain hurt when you try to think about it. But there's going to be scenarios like that that come up, and I just don't know. I guess manual override, as long as you intervene and you can make your own decision, I think that would probably be the best way to go. I don't think that there'll ever be a time where you get into some vehicle and you don't have any way to interact with it at all, and it's just a computer. Although maybe far enough in the future that might be deemed the safest thing, just to remove human error out of the equation, and you get cars that are driving around at like 400 miles an hour where the human interaction is not able to think fast enough to deal with all these fast-moving vehicles going around like hundreds of miles an hour. So it's just completely computer automated. That may actually be something that's in the future, probably a lot farther than my lifetime, so I'm not gonna have to worry about it myself. But let me know what you think about these scenarios in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear your ideas. And it could also be like, well, I'm not going to pose any more questions. Let me know what you think about those topics down in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll talk to you later. Take it easy.